Okay, Saturday, 25th of May, 2024. Yeah, so self-custody is the revolution. So this kind of goes into the video that I did a week ago now, I guess. We're talking about Bitcoin is risky, the riskiest thing, risky. No, because when you strip it away and look at Bitcoin as the first principles, and you look at all the different aspects of it, all the different features, things that are built in to Bitcoin itself, you realize it's the least riskiest thing. So self-custody then is in fact the revolution, because now you can take the money you have, which is time and energy, and put that yourself into your own collection, your own keeping, custody, self-custody in the name. Now what that means is that you do not have, you have fewer risks. You have fewer risks in a sense of third party or institutional risk, political risk, things like that. You have security risk, meaning you have to protect it. You have to sort out the protection and the backups and the recovery and whatever else, but you are responsible, you. And that's empowering because it means that you can do what you want. And it uses the level of protection you want, but at the same time it means responsibility. And that's scary to some people. Fair enough. Means you're responsible for your own actions. Woo. Meaning that there's no customer support you can ring, you have to handle it all. Because, see, security is a spectrum of complexity and recovery. Fair enough. Now, it's the revolution because fundamentally the money that you have in the bank isn't truly your money. Through fractional reserve lending or unsecured loans, because any money in the bank on a non-savings account is what's called unsecured debt or unsecured loan. Meaning you've lent that money to the bank with no asset as collateral. Like what a mortgage would have a house as collateral. So if something goes wrong in the mortgage, in the loan agreement itself, the bank can take the property to be whole on the loan. But see, when you give money to the bank, it's an unsecured loan, meaning that there's no asset behind it. They have nothing, you have nothing in case something goes wrong. That means nothing backing up, there's no collateral, it's just their word. It's just your word and their word, okay? So what does that mean? It means that if something goes wrong with the bank, politically, financially, scandally, you name it, the chances are you don't get your money back. Because as an unsecured debt, you're not a debt holder. You don't own shares in the company. This is when finance, this is what's called first charge. Zero charge, technically the taxman. First charge, second charge, third charge. It's the pecking order of who gets their money back. So, in a worst case scenario, bank goes down, a regional bank or bank run, Northern Rock, 2007, something like that happens. Who gets their money back first? Well, the debt holders do. Well, the taxman always gets their money back. Then the debt holders, who are the bond holders, they get their money back first. Who are the customers? Who are the unsecured debt holders? The normal person. They don't get their money back. Again, look at Northern Rock 2007. The plane going overhead. But with Bitcoin, you can take your money, with your time and energy, and put it into self-storage, self-custody, your own protection, away from these third-party institutions, reducing your political and financial risk, your third-party and institutional risk. Meaning you have fewer problems to deal with in case of these things, in case these things happen, these scandals, these crashes, whatever, GFC all over again. You have fewer risk because you have no exposure to the banks. Why? Because your money's out of the fiat or political money and into self-custody in your own protection, cold storage, you name it. And that's the revolution, because now you can do it. Before you couldn't do that. You couldn't take your money per se and put it in the bank, put it under the mattress, because you then have the risk of inflation, melting away, melting ice cube. Nor could you put your money per se in the bank account with the bank and they not do any fractional reserve lending with it, not do any unsecured debt or financial chicanery behind the scenes with it. No, you couldn't just have a normal account where you just hold it, because any money at the bank is not technically your money. Simply try and ask to withdraw 5 figures in cash, and just watch what happens. Banks scream, KYC, documents, AML, you name it. What are you going to do with it? They need an excuse, because I also understand that cash is a bearer asset. Whoever happens to own it is the owner of it. Whoever has it in their hand is the owner. And then you can say Bitcoin is a digital bearer asset. Whoever owns the private keys, the wallet, the coins itself, the passwords in their mind, they're the owner. Fair enough. Technicalities. Now, self-custody is the revolution, because now you can take the money, Bitcoin, and put it in your own protection without anyone or any third party doing any chicanery, any financial shenanigans behind the scenes. Powerful. What does that mean? You have more financial independence. Bitcoin is the revolution. It gives you more choices in the future, what you can and can't do with the money. This kind of goes into that phrase where be your own bank. Because in this context, you are your own bank. You're taking control and custody of the cash itself, and no one else has it, no one else can touch it, and no one else controls it, no one else can fiddle with it, basically. That's powerful. Because as Bitcoin is energy and money, as in your time, you mine fiat, you have a job, you earn the money, you buy Bitcoin with it, and you put it in protection, you protect it in self-custody. In a way, that's got fewer risks. Third party, political, scandal risk, tort risk, legal risk, you name it. And that's perfect. It means that your money is protected. Why? Because the risk of X happening or Y happening or exposure to this or that goes to zero. That's the revolution. That right there is the revolution and changes everything. So we could say then, well, doesn't that mean then the more money we have in self-custody, the better? And then in January, I think it's the 3rd or the 11th or the 10th, I forgot, proof of keys days, because there's a nice meme in the space, in the community, not your keys, not your coins. Meaning if you don't have the private keys to the wallet, they're not your coins. They're third party, that someone's holding it in custody for you, a bank or institution, whatever else, a fintech or an exchange. If you don't have the keys, these coins aren't really
Total
yours.
distance,
You don't truly own them.
9.0
If you do have the private
kilometers.
keys, i.e. the password, you could say, those coins are truly yours. It's your wealth. No one's got access to it. No one can mislead or misdirect or deceive you in some way, because there's not technically possible. When it's in cold storage, no one can touch it. You know, cold storage, offline, or paper wallet, you name it, or a mined wallet. Oof. No one can touch it. It's not technically possible because they're not connected to the internet. If it's not connected to the internet, who can touch it? No one. It's offline. Perfect. So that's the revolution. Taking money and having it in your own hands, your own storage, your own protection. It's powerful. That changes everything. Because people can also then be sovereign, can be individuals, be your own person, sovereign. There's an amazing book, it's on my big pile of books to read, called The Sovereign Individual, written in, I want to say 1999. And it talks about this, so that individuals using technology will become more international, more sovereign, more independent through the technology and through the opportunity that it brings, or the more options and choices it unlocks. That's a revolution, that is right there. And then it reiterates the idea, self-custody is the revolution. And then in January, proof of keys days, people tend to take their coins off the exchanges, and it's a way of testing if the banks and institutions do have the full amount, otherwise it's a run on the bank, or if they do, you take it into self-custody and you're protecting your wealth. Priceless. Either way, you get better, you improve. Testing the banks, and or you yourself have your money, your wealth right there. Because if it's in your wallet, your keys, you've got it. Powerful stuff. And that right there is the revolution. Self-custody is the revolution. Yeah, how cool is that? But otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.